Pittsburgh Steeler fans, welcome to another Sunday edition of the BTSC podcast. This particular broadcast is We Run the North. I'm your host, Kevin Tate from the Know It All podcast, guest contributor to the BTSC podcast. And today, we're going to be brief. I know you guys got a lot of stuff to do. It's Father's Day. Say happy Father's Day to all, to all of you out there. Happy Juneteenth. It's Juneteenth also. So happy Father's Day and happy Juneteenth. So today, I'm by myself, just me. Everybody else was too busy with Father's Day and all the things that they're doing. So no guest appearances, no guest hosts or anything like that. You're stuck with me for a few minutes. And today, excuse me. Today, what I want to talk about, like I said, we're going to be brief. We're going to talk about dads. It's Father's Day. We'll talk about dads. First, let me just say happy Juneteenth to everybody out there also. Juneteenth is a day celebrated for the complete freedom of slavery in the United States. This was June 19th, 1865. The Union Army finally gave up Texas. Abraham Lincoln had declared the Emancipation Proclamation January 1st, 1863. That officially freed the slaves. Word hadn't matriculated over to the Lone Star state of Texas until June 19th, 1865, almost 2.5 years later. That's when all the slaves over in Texas and stuff were free. So that's hence the celebration. President Joe Biden made it a national holiday last year. So this will be the second year that Juneteenth is a national holiday. It'll be celebrated officially tomorrow, even though today is Juneteenth. So, if some of you off work tomorrow, go ahead and enjoy the day. There are a lot of festivals and things going on all around the nation today in different places. I live in the DC area. There's a big festival going on today. I was actually invited to a Juneteenth party today, but I didn't go because it was at 4 o'clock, and we do this usually around 5 o'clock. So, kind of my excuse. I didn't want to be out on a Sunday going way across town either. So, this was kind of my built-in excuse. Got to do my podcast today. So anyway, yeah, but happy Father's Day again too to everybody. And today we're going to talk about the Steelers players, not the players, but their fathers. They played in the NFL. I think the Steelers have three players whose father played in the NFL, and one player whose grandfather played in the NFL. So before we jump into that, let's just check out the live chat. Say what's up to everybody. Hey, John, what's up, man? Good to see you. Happy Father's Day. Glad you could take time out to join us for just a few minutes. Oh, man, the homie Britsburg Owen. What's up, bruh? Oh, man, hey, I'm going to, I would love to do a show with you, man. We'll talk. I'll figure out. Maybe put your email in the live chat, and I'll email you later after the show. I would love to have your input and opinion on different stuff. So yeah, man, definitely. Thanks for volunteering. The homie GT George Teston, what's up, man? Here every week. Good to see you. Happy Father's Day to you, sir. Hope you enjoying your day wherever you are. And did I miss anybody? I think that's about everybody. The rest of the live chat, you guys are just speaking to each other. That's Britsburg 0-2, Pittsburgh Steelers Syndicate. Okay, so yeah, like I said, great to have you guys with me here today. We're all Steelers fans, so we kind of just get the information everywhere we can. So the first person I'm going to talk about is a gentleman by the name of Johnny Latner. Do you guys know who Johnny Latner was? He was the 1953 Heisman Trophy winner for the University of Notre Dame. He played halfback. He played briefly in the NFL, Played 1 year actually for the Pittsburgh Steelers. In his 1 year in 1954, his rookie year, he made the Pro Bowl. So he wins the Heisman, goes to the pros, and then goes to the Pro Bowl in his rookie year. I believe he went away to the service. I probably should have done some better research, but yeah, Johnny Ladner is Robert Spillane's grandfather. Robert Spillane, middle linebacker for the Pittsburgh Steelers. Uh, yeah, so there's some pedigree right there, right? His grandfather was a Heisman Trophy winner at Notre Dame. I mean, that's epic right there, right? A Heisman Trophy winner from Notre Dame gets drafted and goes to the Pittsburgh Steelers. Notre Dame to the Pittsburgh Steelers is not what it was then. Notre Dame was, but at the time of Johnny Ladner, Pittsburgh wasn't. Like Chase Claypool went from, and Stephon Tuitt went from Notre Dame. Miles Boykin too is a ex Fighting Irish, but they go from Notre Dame to the Pittsburgh Steelers in in this day and age, and it means something because of the history of the Pittsburgh Steelers. That history hadn't been built yet at that time in 1954. Pittsburgh was a fledgling franchise at that point. Still, they really didn't turn it around to the late '60s, early '70s, maybe. When Chuck Noll got around, became coach, he kind of turned it around. But yeah, so Johnny Ladner is Robert Spillane's grandfather. So now, what other players do we have? Who we want to talk about next. Uh, let's talk about Terrell Terrell Edmonds and his brother Trey Edmonds. The brothers, a pair of the brothers play for the Steelers. They actually, their father Pharrell Edmonds actually played for the. He played in college at the University of Maryland and played in the pros for the Miami Dolphins. He had a checking my notes here. I'm sorry. He had a he was drafted in the third round in 1988, and he played from 1988 to 92 for the Dolphins and 1 year for the Seattle Seahawks. In his short career, he was a two-time Pro Bowler, and in 1989, Pharrell was an All Pro tight end. So and he has three sons in the NFL, not just the two that play for the Steelers, Trey and Terrell, but there's also Tremaine, who was in Buffalo, and Tremaine and Terrell were the first brother tandem to both be drafted in the first round of the same draft. So how's that? But yeah, so how's that for pedigree? We're talking about Pharrell Edmonds and has all his boys in the NFL. And he was an all pro, catching passes from Dan Marino, no less, back in the day. So there's that. Even though he was never a Steeler, played for Pittsburgh, he received passes from the man from Pittsburgh, from Pitt, Dan Marino. So that's just an interesting tidbit. Like I said, all his boys are NFL. He's actually a coach, high school coach in Virginia right now. So just another interesting tidbit about the Edmonds brothers and the players for the Steelers and their dad. Um, the next father we'll talk about is Devin Bush's dad, Devin Bush Sr. Devin Bush Sr. was a really good player. He played safety. His build wasn't much different than what Devin's is now. Safeties were that size back then. Linebackers are a little smaller nowadays, just because of the game has changed. A lot more passing. You don't need those big thumpers to stop the run as much. So Devin Bush Sr. was a safety. He played college ball at Florida State. Florida State won a national championship. in 1993. I believe that was the Charlie Ward team. Bobby Bowden was the coach at Florida State. He was a he was drafted by the Atlanta Falcons, and he was drafted. Let me tell you, make sure I'm telling you the year correct. He was Devin Bush was drafted. His current position right now is director of football recruiting at Ole Miss University. He was drafted from Florida State in the first round pick, number 26, by the Atlanta Falcons, and he actually won a Super Bowl with the St. Louis Rams at the time they were in St. Louis, the greatest show on turf. That Rams team, he was a starting safety on that team. In college, he was second team All ACC. He had a really good career. Did Devin Bush Sr. Hopefully, Devin Bush Jr. And I have faith in him. I think he's coming back from injury this year. I think he'll turn it around and be what he was trending towards his rookie year. And he had a really good second year up until the injury, and he got put out last year. We're gonna give him a pass on that. That's over now. So I got a feeling he's coming back healthy this year. They're gonna pair him with Miles Jack. I'm looking for big things from Devin Bush and the rest of that Steelers defense this year. But yeah, his dad was a great player at Florida State, uh, Atlanta Falcons, St. Louis Rams, and also played his last year. He played with the Cleveland Browns. We won't hold that against Devin's dad, though. He's trying to get that NFL paycheck one more time. So he played his last year with the Cleveland Browns. But and last but not least, the last father we're going to talk about is the Ironhead Hayward, Craig Hayward, Cam Hayward and Connor Hayward's dad. Played at the University of Pittsburgh. He was a beast of a running back. He just was, that ground and pound kind of running back. He was. I'm trying to think back in his day. Who was he like? I mean, Earl Campbell, maybe. I mean, he was a beast. He was drafted by the New Orleans Saints in 1988 in the first round, pick number 24 to the Saints. Like I said, he played at the University of Pitt Panthers. He was really, really good. He finished fifth in the Heisman voting his last year of college. Almost rushed for almost 1,800 yards. I mean, nobody could really stop Ironhead. He was just a monster. Kind of was like Jerome Bettis before Jerome Bettis. I mean, I guess Jerome Bettis was probably drafted in like 96 and Hayward in 88. So, a little older than Bussy. But yeah, that same style, that same big body, physical, downhill back, just let's just get this yardage. That's the kind of back Craig Ironhead Hayward was. And like I said, he had a nice lengthy career because after he played for the New Orleans Saints, he then went to originally from New Jersey, played at Pitt. He then went after the Saints. He then went to the Chicago Bears for a year. Then had 3 seasons with the Atlanta Falcons. Then played for the St. Louis Rams in 1997 and the Colts in '98. I wonder if Ironhead and Jerome Bettis were both at the Rams at the same time. Sounds like they were. I'll have to look into that. That would be just a interesting kind of, connection, 6 degrees of separation. But yeah, a great player, 30 career touchdowns, not about 4,400 yards in his career. So he never was in the pros, but he was in college, but he was definitely consistent. He was a Pro Bowler in 1995. I believe that was not for the Rams. That was for the Bears. So yeah, really good player. So just want this Father's Day, just want to shout out some of the Steeler dads. I believe Craig Hayward passed away. He passed away at the age of 39. Uh, I guess about 16 years ago. It was in May of 2006. About 16 years ago. I'm sorry, passed away in 2006. I believe from like a brain tumor. But yeah, sad that he passed away at such a young age. He was a great football player. Has some great sons. I'm sure a lot of that, a lot of the athletic pedigree is probably owed to their father. A lot of the great young men that they are is probably a lot of that's probably owed to their mother, just because their father passed away so early. But yeah, so I just wanted to, like I said, shout out some of these Pittsburgh Steelers who have fathers that played in the NFL. Um, so we're moving along. Now we'll just jump to some interesting news of the week in the division. As far as the Steelers news, we got Minka Fitzpatrick who signed this contract, making him the highest paid safety ever. Don't know how long that'll last. That title will last because the 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 next guy just sets the bar for the next guy, and so on. So Minka got the bag right now this week. Sometime soon, I'm sure some other safety will reset the market and they'll get the bag too. But right now, I'd say we have arguably the best safety in the league, at least the best free safety. Put that with the best edge rusher in T.J. Watt, the all-time sack leader, tied with Michael Strahan, and then pair that with those two with probably the number two defensive tackle in football, Cam Hayward. I'm gonna say Aaron Donald's still the best defensive tackle. But yeah, so we have the second best player's position, the first best player's position, and arguably the first best player at his position in TJ Watt and Minka Fitzpatrick. So, like I said already, expecting big things from this defense. So that's pretty much the Steeler news this week. Minka's contract, that's the biggest thing that got done this week. Uh Deshaun Watson for the Browns, jumping to the Browns now. Deshaun Watson was had two more women um, get on the lawsuit. So it went from 24 accusers to 26 accusers that are charging him in the civil suit. Not looking good for Deshaun Watson. We don't know what's happening yet. I feel like the NFL, Roger Goodell, and the rest of the NFL people that make those decisions are kind of dragging their feet, which is not good for the NFL. I feel like that's kind of bad for the shield, bad for the brand. Um, I feel like they have to do something major with this one. They tried to get away with just suspending Ray Rice, I believe, for 2 games at the time. Ben Roethlisberger, back when he had his issues, I believe got suspended for 4 games. Ezekiel Elliott got suspended for a domestic situation at a concert a few years back. I believe he was suspended for 6 games. And so these guys having all these different interactions with not even necessarily the law, but just bad optics. It's just bad optics for not even crimes, allegations from women and things like that. So we don't know what happened in any of these cases. None of us were there. But like I said, it's just a bad look, bad optics. I mean, you have 26 accusers, 26 different women saying this guy did this. That's not good. That's not good. So I feel like the NFL is going to have to come down on Deshaun Watson pretty harshly. Uh, Initially, when it was 22, not that makes a difference, but I was in the realm of 4 to 8 games. But with all this bad publicity, his lawyer saying nothing wrong with a happy ending, and it just keeps going on and on. The New York Post released a story about it, and it's going to be a drip, drip, drip. There's going to be more. The New York Post, the Washington Post, they always do it like that. You know what I mean? Like they get dirt on political officials up at the highest level. So I'm sure they've done their due diligence in their investigating of Deshaun Watson, and they've already put a story out. But I'm sure there will be more to come that I don't know if the Browns and the NFL are ready for. So I think the only answer for the NFL is to suspend this guy for at least 1 year. I mean, just be like again, he had not guilty of any criminal offenses, but the civil charges and just the optics for the NFL, not a good look. They need to show that they are tough on these different things now because they went kind of, slap on the hand, kind of light with some of the other previous things. So I think this time they'll go really hard. Now the Browns on the football field, talk about some potential trades the Browns may make. So there have been talk about Baker Mayfield to the Carolina Panthers this week. It was early in the week. It was really, really being talked about. I don't know if it's kind of cooled down over the course of the week, but there was talk about Baker going to Seattle, and there was talk about Baker going to the Seattle Seahawks. Both teams that are probably in need of a quarterback. Carolina Panthers have Sam Darnold. I had somebody tell me, a Browns fan that's really into it and keeps up, that he thinks it would be good for the Browns because of the Deshaun Watson situation, and they don't think Baker's going to come back and play in Cleveland. That the Browns trade with Carolina and trade Baker Mayfield for Sam Darnold head up. I mean, they're both on their fifth year rookie extension. They both got their 5th year. I believe Sam's was for 20, Baker's was for almost 19. So the money would work and just trade those guys out. I mean, Darnold didn't work in Carolina last year. Baker can be rejuvenated in Carolina with that, with a new place, a new offense. I don't know that that's a bad idea. I mean, the Browns are going to need a quarterback if Deshaun Watson doesn't play, and Baker's not going to come back and play. So that might not be a bad trade, unless they want to roll with Jacoby Brissett. But Baker to Carolina for Sam Darnold is a possibility. Now the Seahawks, on the other hand, I think they're just looking to add to their room. They would take Baker. The thing is, this holding the Baker deal up is I don't think they want to. Any of the teams want to pay all that money, pay that $19 million. So they're just trying to play a game of chicken with the Browns, wait them out, see if they have to cut them. But both these teams probably would trade for him if Cleveland would pay 2/3 of that 18 million, 19 million. Say they paid 6 or 7 million. I think Cleveland could get that trade done if they really want to do it. But they're holding out. I don't see the benefit in Cleveland holding out, but I don't think Baker's going to come play. Even if Deshaun Watson's suspended for the whole year, I don't think he's going to come play in Cleveland. But Seattle has uh, Geno Smith at quarterback, and when they traded Russell Wilson, they picked up the kid from Denver. What was his name? I can see his face. Yeah, boy, they picked that guy up. Uh, yeah, the Browns have Josh Dobbs too, but Josh Dobbs has never started a game in the NFL. So that's Richard Stone saying they have Josh Dobbs, and they do. I just don't know how confident they would be going into a season with Josh Dobbs, who's never started at quarterback. Thanks, Richard. Drew Lock. Man, I get brain freezes all the time when I'm going live on here, man. I know this stuff. And then when I need to share it, I just get a brain freeze. Thanks, man. But yeah, what is Drew Lock? So they have Drew Lock, Geno Smith. If they trade for Baker Mayfield, I say Baker Mayfield is the best of that bunch, and he probably is a starter. But wait and see. I think Cleveland's trying to play it out to see what happens with Deshaun Watson, to at least go up to training camp and see what they get. They can get somebody gets injured. But the thing about quarterback, Baker wants to be a starter. If you want to be a starter, you need to be somewhere early to learn the playbook, know the players, know the team, and all that stuff like that. So I don't think it's benefiting the Browns or Baker to wait because they got to get a guy in. Unless they're rolling with Jacoby Brissett, they need to go ahead and make a move themselves. Uh, Brain freeze with George. Thanks, man. You make me feel all right about myself, then, man, because it happens all the time, dude. I like pick up my phone to get ready to look up something and search and get distracted for 5 seconds and come back and like, what was I getting ready to do? What was I getting ready to search? And I just completely forget. I'm getting old, man. I go back to the Steelers players' fathers. Let's see. I'm like 11 months older than Devin Bush Sr. Uh, Ironhead was older than me by about 6 or 7 years. Definitely not old as Johnny Ladner, and Pharrell Edmonds is probably about 6 or 7 years older than me too. But like I'm old enough to be a Steelers dad, man. That's probably why I'm forgetting stuff all the time. But yeah, let's see. So let's see what we can. And I'm here on my laptop pulling up the other teams. Let's see what we can talk about. What do the Bengals have going on? Um, wow, there's a ranking that says the Cincinnati Bengals have the best skill players in the NFL. Uh, where is this ranking from? It's from the Athletic. Pretty credible source, but this again that's just opinionated. But the Bengals do have great skill players in the skill positions when you talk about Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, Tyler Boyd, Joe Mixon. Then Hayden Hurst is going to be their tight end this year. I mean, really good. But let's see any other Bengal news. Um, no, that's kind of it. The Bengals were kind of quiet this week. Their draft pick Cam Taylor Britt from Nebraska, cornerback. I believe they got him in like the third or fourth round. So he's looking real good in camp. Jesse Bates is still holding out, wanting to get, and now he probably wants Mika money. I talked to Brandon B. Dirt earlier this week. Once Mika got his deal, I said, ask him, does Jesse Bates get Mika money? He says no. So maybe they'll keep Jesse Bates franchise tags. If he holds out, he loses that money. They have some decent safety depth. They don't pay him, they let him walk, and next year they have all that extra cap space. So I don't know what's going to happen with that, but it's just interesting. Every team has to make decisions that are best for them. Um, Going on to the Baltimore Ravens real quick. Lamar Jackson's contract still is not done. He's negotiating for himself, him and his mom. I kind of am of the feeling that when it's your first major contract in the NFL, you kind of want a professional to come in and do it. But I mean, I don't know all the fine print and all those different things associated with contracts. I just would want a professional do it. I get wanting to represent yourself, but for that first deal, I think you get a professional, a real agent to do it. Um, so we'll see what happens with that. Lamar Jackson did show up at mandatory mini camps, so he was there for that. John Harbaugh said like he's in great shape, looking forward to the season. Hope we can get a deal done. Blah 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 blah. So they're just talking the talk right now. Um, yeah, that's pretty much it. They say Harbaugh says that J.K. Dobbins and Gus Edwards and tackle Ronnie Stanley all coming back from injury look good. Not rushing them back, but they all should be ready for the season. So let's see how that goes with Baltimore. Ravens wide receiver James Proche the second says he's developing good chemistry with Lamar Jackson. The Ravens are wide receiver starved, so we'll see how that goes. But yeah, now so that's kind of The Father's Day. We talked about Father's Day. Happy Father's Day to Steelers fathers. Happy Juneteenth. Kind of explained that. Talked about some recent updates and news for the rest of the division. Now let's have a few minutes of Q and A. If you guys have any questions, man, let's go ahead and hear them and see what we can do in the live chat. See what we can talk about for a few minutes. Let's see. Claude Bishop says the Bengals will take a step back. It's the law of averages. Yeah, I don't know that they're. I think they're capable of winning the division. A step back in that sense, I believe. Yeah, I believe they could finish better than they finished last year, 10-7, and still not win this division this year because everybody else is probably just better. Um, and then the Bengals aren't going to surprise anybody. I mean, so I could see them going 10-7 again. I think they're a good team. I don't know that they're a great team. You know, they played really good, got hot in the playoffs last year. Sometimes that's all it takes. So I don't know if I call it a step back. They just won't sneak up on people this year, and they could stand in place. I'd say, but if they're 10-7 again, that's the same record as last year, and they made the Super Bowl last year. But that's not taking a step back. That's just other teams are better in the division and the conference. So, but yeah, I don't have the Bengals finishing them below 10-7. So I wouldn't say that they're taking a step back. I'd say they're just aren't going to sneak up on anybody, and people are going to be ready for them this year. Right, and that's what is it if Jenny Crosby said the Bengals only went 10-7 last year. That's correct. And the Steelers were 9-7-1, but the Bengals stomped us 2 times. So we as Steeler fans got to give it up to them because they kind of beat us down last year both times. You know. Um GT George Tesson. I don't see them in the Super Bowl. Definitely not, George. I think you're absolutely right. You might not see them in the playoffs as tough as it's going to be to get in. I mean, as huge a Steeler fan as I am, we might not see the Steelers in the playoffs. I mean, if we're being realistic fans, I mean, I hope they can just grind out the Steelers. I'm talking about grind out a win each week. Take it game by game. Each game is going to be its own different battle, and you just got to approach it like that. I mean, we got some tough teams on our schedule. We got some games that we should win on our schedule, but you can't look ahead, and when the game is over, you can't look back. You just got to take it week by week and try and just grind it out. That's what it's going to take from the Steeler team this year. We don't know if we're going to score 30 points in a game. We don't know if we're capable of scoring 30 points. We'll see when the offense is out there. We know what the defense is capable of probably being great, so we need them to be great. Danny Smith getting the special teams together. It's going to be complimentary football that's going to win games for the Steelers this year if we're going to win games. So we need all 3 phases of the game to go on our way, and each each phase to pick up the other one, so we can have a hopefully a good season. Um, let's see, Evan. I don't think the Steelers will be last in the division. I would agree with you. I don't think they'll be last. But who knows where they'll finish between third and first. I don't. If I was saying who'd be last right now, just because of the turmoil that's going on there and all you know, the complications with the quarterback position, a lot of new players, a lot of talent, but a lot of new players, and the complications with the quarterback position in Cleveland, I probably got them finishing last right now. If you looking to bet in Vegas, you can't bet anything on the Browns in Vegas right now because they removed the line last I checked because they don't not there's no answers at the quarterback position. So, you know, they I believe opening out when everything they thought Deshaun Watson was going to at least play the majority of the season, the over under for Cleveland was 9.5 and for the Steelers is 7.5. So, but both situations the 9.5 was because Deshaun Watson was coming. Now that they've taken it off the board, it's because they don't know who's going to be quarterback. And the Steelers were set at 7.5 because of the questions at our quarterback position. So, it's kind of one and the same. We'll see what happens. I'm really excited for training camp to come around. Still looking in the live chat. Let's see. Wow, that's a good question, Claude. Should the Steelers pass the ball more than expected with the weapons they have in wideout? I think there's a balance to that. Um, I think we want to get back to running the ball, keeping the defense rested, but I think they have to take big shots off play action when those are available. If teams are playing eight in the box, trying to stuff the run, because I think Najee's gonna have a big year, then yeah, you gotta trust the quarterback, whoever the starter is, to to make some throws, get some big plays. We do have a lot of weapons. I mean, we're talking about Deontay Johnson, Chase Claypool, George Pickens, Calvin Austin Jr., uh, Fryermuth, Najee Harris. I think Connor Hayward, I mean, is going to be a low key secret weapon. And, the receiver room, I'm not sure about. I named the top four. I believe two more spots are left. I don't know who went out. Miles Boykin, Cody White, Anthony Miller, or Gunner. But yeah, so what's Tomlin's thing? That's four dogs fighting for two bones in that instance. So we'll see what happens. Trade Mason Rudolph to Ukraine. I'm not familiar with Ukraine's football team, but that's funny. Uh, yeah, I'm not. Now I don't want Mason to be the starting quarterback, but I think Mason gets gets a lot of rough flack from Steeler Nation and just from the national media in general. I mean, I don't think he's a franchise quarterback, but I think Mason Rudolph is a solid backup quarterback that can come in for 2 or 3 weeks and win you some games. He's probably better than half the backup quarterbacks in the NFL. So I mean, he does have some trade value, but I mean, I don't see the Steelers getting better in a 6th round pick for him if they decide to trade him sometime coming before camp or right into camp for a team that needs a quarterback. But we'll see what happens. Um, okay, good point, George. They don't get someone to back up Najee. They may need to pass more to give him a rest. I mean, I'm not opposed to the passing game. I mean, I think if the offensive line can protect, I believe in Trubisky and Pickett. I mean, because the weapons, they just need to facilitate like a point guard in basketball and hit the open man. You don't have to. Every throw doesn't have to be 25 yards downfield. Take what the defense gives you. Move in the pocket if the rush comes. If the lineman lets the rush in a little bit, we have quarterbacks that can at least move a little bit and throw, off platform outside the pocket. That'll be a benefit to the offense and the O line. But yeah, so we'll see how it plays out. Claude Mason's always played scared. I don't disagree. I under, I think I understand the fear factor. I mean, you can't be fearful in football, but man, dude got smashed by Earl Thomas. Man, hit right in the grill, and that could make anybody apprehensive when you dropping back to throw a pass again. I mean, like where's that next shot coming from? And then later in the same year, he get hits in the face with his own helmet by Miles Garrett. Yeah, I'm sure he's back there with happy feet and nervous, and I think that's one of his bigger problems. But again, we'll see how training camp plays out and what's going on. Uh, Evan, I want to see what Kenny Pickett can do. To be honest, I'm not against Kenny Pickett if he wins it. If him and Mitchell Trubisky are the same or equal, then I think you go with Pickett. But if Mitch is a little better in camp, and that's to be determined, I think you go with Kenny Pickett. I mean, I think you go with Mitchell Trubisky. But we'll see. That's all the talk is all about the Steelers quarterback situation. I mean, so it's coming soon. We are June 19th today. We got about a month and a week and training camp starts, and then we'll get down to the nitty gritty and see what's really going on with this, with all these competitions, but especially the QB competition. Richard Stone, I think Connor Hayward can try out for RB2. Wow. I mean, I don't know that he at running back. I don't know that he'd be much better than Benny Snell. Benny Snell. I know Michigan State. He was their short yardage back. He played the short yardage halfback. He played fullback sometimes and played tight end. So he's real versatile. I mean, he's certainly an H back. He's that mix between a tight end, a halfback, and a fullback, and he can catch the ball. And so there's a lot you can do with him. But I don't know if he's just a legit RB2. I don't think he's that. I mean, I think at far as at running back two, I think Benny Snell. I'm not saying great things about Benny, but I think he's better at running back than Connor Hayward would be. I think Anthony McFarland and Mateo Durant would all be better running back options than Connor Hayward. But doesn't mean Connor Hayward can't run the ball on a short yardage fullback dive. Doesn't mean he can't line up in the backfield to pass protect and sneak out for a little short pass or something like that. He has that kind of potential, but you're not just going to hand him the ball off in 2022 in the NFL and expect him to be a viable option at running back. I feel like he'd be a sitting duck with his, speed coming from the running back position. Um, let's see. A mobile QB will be the difference. Ben was slow and couldn't move. I don't disagree, Claude. We'll be a lot better with a quarterback that can move. Why the hate for Benny Snell? um, what did Lance Williams used to be on here? He used to call Benny Snell Benny No Jets. Thought that was funny back in the day. But yeah, Benny, it's been around for a while. It's never had a couple good games at running back, a couple really good games. Think about that opener against the Giants in 2019. Or no, that was 2020. 2020. Ben's first game back from the injury, and he came in and saved the game. James Conner got hurt per usual when he was a Steeler. Leaves the Steelers and becomes a Pro Bowler last year. He was a Pro Bowler once with the Steelers too. But yeah, but Benny's a great special teams player. I heard he kind of slimmed down a little bit. His body looks different this year. So we'll see what he brings to camp. But I think he makes the team, even if he's not the second running back, he's RB3, but he's such a valuable special teams player. We may need to sign another veteran running back. I like the change of pace that Anthony McFarland offers in theory. He hasn't been able to get on the field and display that yet, but in theory, I like what he brings to the table. I was at the game where he rushed for over 290 yards against Ohio State. That was in 2018, November 2018. Ohio State ended up winning 52-51. But yeah, McFarland had almost 300 yards, like 4 or 5 touchdowns. And rest in peace, Dwayne Haskins brought Ohio State back. That was a great game. I was at the time with my work. We had a box for that at the Maryland games, and I went to that game because I'm an Ohio State fan. That was a great game to go to and see. But yeah, if McFarland can demonstrate some of that, I really like him. I like what I see in Mateo Durant. I mean, he played in the ACC, not the strongest of Power 5 conferences. I think he's a good, fluid, smooth running back. Not like the beast that Najee is, but he could be a good change of pace guy. So I mean, I want them to bring in somebody, a veteran, see what just to compete, and then see what these other guys can do. Benny Snell is definitely RB3, if not RB2. They're gonna keep three. So it's a battle for one more running back position. We'll see what happens. Um, let's see. Bobby Johnson. jumping in saying he doesn't trust Canada. I don't think we know what Canada can do yet, Bobby Johnson. I mean, and are you OG Bobby Johnson? I don't know if you ever seen the movie South Central. The main character now, he's an actor. Forgot the actor's name, but his character's name was OG Bobby Johnson. He's if you watch those kind of movies, those kind of Boys in the Hood. This movie was South Central. If you watch like Boys in the Hood and Juice and those different kind of movies from that time period, OG Bobby Johnson in the movie South Central, great character. But yeah, Canada. I don't think we know what Canada can do. Matt Canada was quarterback coach last year. He was OC, but was it his offense? Was it Ben's offense? There's a lot they didn't do because I look back at tape from when Matt Canada was at Pitt. I believe it was 2016, and they had that a decent season. And they upset Clemson. I mean, it was a lot of stuff those offenses did that Pittsburgh didn't do last year. And I think they didn't do it maybe because Ben didn't want to do it or because Ben couldn't do it because requires a certain level of mobility and rolling out the pocket and and long stretch draws and stuff like that. Lots of motion from the receivers and backs and even some of the tackle movement. I mean, so I don't think we got a full snapshot of Matt Canada's offense. So I'm really expecting a lot a lot of different changes. I think we'll see a lot of things different that we haven't seen that we haven't saw yet. Claude McFarland is too soft. That's tough to call a man soft, man. I mean, he's been hurt. I don't know that he's soft. That's kind of like that's tough. I won't call him soft. I mean, I hesitate to try and use that word. I've called some jokers soft myself before, but I try and hesitate to use the word soft and talk about professional football players and we talk about NFL players. I think McFarland has just been injured and he has that opportunity to be on the field. So we'll definitely see what happens uh, coming in the future. Let's see. We're about ready to get out of here. Okay, I get you, Claude. I know that's why I said I hesitate to call. You say no disrespect. I get it. I hesitate to use the word soft. Often injured, not soft. Oft injured. Yeah, definitely. Um, let's see. What's this one? Okay, blame Ben for everything. So that means he has the players to implement his offense right now, right? He does. He does. I mean, Pittsburgh had was it 7 draft picks? They used 5 on offense. So he has his players. He got the number one quarterback in free agency. He got the number one quarterback in the draft. He got arguably in if he wasn't injured, arguably a top 5 receiver in Pickens. Calvin Austin was a steal. Connor Hayward, I'm sorry, is a secret weapon. Um, yeah, so he got a lot of weapons. People always say, well, did the Steelers do enough for the offensive line? We brought in Mason Cole, we brought in James Daniel. And I think what people miss is the development that we're expecting to happen for guys like Dotson coming back healthy, for guys like Dan Moore, another year, the development. Chooks is going to develop to get even better. And people are complaining about his contract. His contract's not bad because there's not a lot of guarantees in there. It's like a get paid this year, probably 8 or 9 million, and you prove it if we want to extend the rest of the pay you the rest of the contract. I mean, so it's in place, and Chooks can all those guys can develop. I mean, so we brought in two really solid guys, and the other guys we're counting on developing another year in the books of experience. So, you have to factor that in the equation when we're talking about did the line do enough to improve itself. You got to talk about that potential development in those guys that are there, another year of experience and getting better. Um, Play action pass is definitely in the Steelers' future. We have to get that run game going. And I think we can run the ball to set up the pass. And if we need to pass the ball to set up the run. I mean, those are the two options. I think that's what Canada's offense is going to bring with all the distractions and the motions and the, just all that different stuff. I mean, kind of puts me in mind of the offense that you see like uh, Kyle Shanahan running in San Francisco, and to some extent, uh, the Rams, Sean McVay with the Rams, just one of those kind of offenses. So we'll definitely see what happens. Okay, two more, then we're gonna get out of here if there's anything. Uh, you guys are talking to each other. Claude says pay Boswell because he's our best scorer the last 2 years. I think you have to pay Boswell just because he's the probably top two kicker in the league. The only kicker I put above him is I like Justin Tucker for the Ravens. He's been solid for a lot of years. And I like the guy plays for the Raiders. Played college at Auburn. I cannot remember his name now. But yeah, he's a really, really good kicker. So yeah, so we'll see what happens. So we're gonna get ready to get out of here. Um, I'm pulling this up just so I can remind myself. The Steelers can run the ball. The offense will do fine. The defense will be a huge factor in how good the Steelers are. I agree, Brian Brown. The offense can run the ball and move the ball, keep the defense fresh. Every time the defense comes on the field, they're rested and ready to go. Again, it's that complementary football. That's their formula to a winning football game. Hey, Owen, Brisberg. Hey man, put your email in the live chat if you can now, so you're still here, so I can get it, and I'll definitely email you and we'll exchange information, man. So go ahead and do that. And oh yeah, that's thanks, Brisberg. Daniel Carlson, and he has a brother. He played at Clemson. Played at Auburn. His brother plays at Auburn now. So yeah, I think those guys are the top three kickers in the league. Tucker one, Boswell two, Carlson three. Just my opinion, but so yeah, I think you have to definitely extend Boswell. I think he's 31, not old for a kicker at all. He probably has another 6 or 7 years left. So go ahead, and if you can sign him to a 5-year extension at a reasonable price at the top of the kicker market now, it'll be a deal down the line. That's where I'm at. So okay, guys, well, we're gonna get out of here again. Happy Father's Day to everybody. Happy Juneteenth. Thanks for spending your 52 minutes with me on a Sunday afternoon. And like to just say, check out all the different podcasts on the BTSC network, both YouTube and the audio platforms. There's something new every day. Check them out. Lots of great stuff if you're a true Steeler fan and want to keep up. And you can check me out here every Sunday on We Run the North. And check out our podcast, the Know It All podcast. We're going a little later tonight because my co-hosts on there, both Mod and Big G, doing Father's Day stuff. So we're going on 9 o'clock this evening. So I get to get off here and kind of just chill out for a little bit until then. But yeah, thank you guys for joining. And like I said, hey, Owen, email, buddy. You guys have a good one. Here we go, Steelers. See you next week. Peace.